Let me start by saying the movie's fantastic, and all the performances, it's just very well done. The thing I think that sometimes a movie is made, and you never know when it's going to come out in the world, but it seems like this is like the perfect time for, this story, especially with just what's going on with the world the last few days.
Yeah.
Could you sort of talk about like the story of the film and just kind of the timing of it, if you don't mind?
Well, I think that this form of journalism and people who risk literally everything to tell us the truth of what's happening to civilian lives in these war-torn places is something that is essential now, when the way people receive news and the fake news aspect of it all is it's a movie, it's entertainment, but it does have an important message, and I do think you're right. I think it feels very timely that we're shedding light on what these people go through to tell us the truth, when truthful news is so hard to get these days.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, in reality, this should have been a bit of a historical movie, because when me and Marie, when I came out 7 years ago now, and I wrote the book, and we, Whispers of Films, no one thought it'd still be going in 7 years' time. This, in reality, if everything had gone well, the war would have been over 5-6 years ago, and this would have been a flashback to the war, but actually it's still going on. And that, timing-wise, it couldn't be better for that reason, And it's at the stage in the war where people are starting to think it's over, and, the Assads are slowly being weaned back onto the international circuit. So, with this coming out showing that, what these people did, it sad, but the timing is quite spot on for it. We're about to see the final chapter in Homs in Idlib, and this is coming out, so it couldn't be better. People go and see this and keep asking questions. Then it's done a world of good.
One of the things that I found really interesting was the fact that you guys used non-professional actors, people that have really lived these experiences, being part of the film. Can you sort of talk about working with people who'd been there and how that maybe changes the energy on set?
Well, Jesus, I mean, it certainly did change the energy. 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. I mean, so many times that spilled into something that was just very sort of uncontrollable and heightened in terms of emotion, and people lost it. And, in the burial scene in Iraq, we had women who were really there, and that was, bringing up memories of stuff that had happened to them, and it was harrowing. And it's that strange line between documenting that and filming these people who are in real distress and PTSD with these situations, and but also comforting them as well. And it was
that interaction. I never thought it was going to be like that.
No,
there were times when it did get real. People come up and hug you. One guy came up and pulled his T-shirt up and it was full of bullet holes. And I said, "What happened to you?" He goes, "I was in Baba Amra when you guys were there."
But also, I think it's like sometimes they don't, they've been approached and it's a day's work and they'll get paid quite well to be an extra for a day or two, whatever it is, and they maybe sometimes aren't prepared for how real you can make those situations look, and they're designed to a point that to every detail, and it just got all too real for people. But on a selfish point of view, that was kind of amazing to feed off that energy a lot of the time.
Completely. Talk a little bit about the first time you guys met and maybe how you bonded, and if you could share. I got some smiles. I'm assuming there's a pub, there's drinking.
There was a pub involved,
right?
And chicken wings, I think.
Well, we'd been in email contact a lot before the film started shooting, and I'd read Paul's book Under the Wire, obviously, and seen every footage of Paul that I could manage, but we weren't able to meet until we got the same flight.
We tried a few times, but
your schedule was way crazier than mine.
Yeah,
by the
it was
way.
nuts.
Always away. So we actually didn't meet until we were flying to Amman, to Jordan, to start shooting the movie, and we then found a pub when we landed and started a great kind of
because
friendship.
you can't really kind of sit there and go, okay, here's a few notes on me.
No,
it wasn't going to work. That would have just been creepy, wouldn't it? Like, now try this.
That's so.
Now we just went to the pub and it was like after a couple
so
of like,
on you to do that.
Yeah, I mean I don't know what I am, who I am. So how he was going to find out, I never know.
Was there? And I know I have to go, but was there like a mannerism or two that you saw that you were looking at that drinking, hanging out, and you're like, I got to remember this?
There's a few things, but then also like what I had the Paul moves a lot. And sometimes that's appropriate, and sometimes
Sometimes inappropriate.
sometimes inappropriate. But the main thing for me really is his accent. You know, I'm from very different parts of the world, and we sound very different. Maybe not to Americans. I mean, actually, there was a screening in New York, and this guy was talking to me in the toilet, and he was like, that was great, man. I was like, great, thanks. You work your ass off to do these accents as well. And he's like, that's great. So he was Scottish? Like, well, that was pointless. Yeah,
I'm off.
Yeah, so wasted my time.
Thank you so much. Congrats on the movie. I really am happy it was made. Have a
Good.
great day.
Thanks, man.
Cheers, man.
Thank you very much.